Stay cool.
This is a Thor News presentation. Thor News presents... If your country looks like a bowl of cereal that has too much milk in it, it's probably time to return. I don't know how the airplane thing took the top of the news when 160,000 people seem to be displaced. Malaysia flooding. Prime Minister Najib Razak pledges extra funds after he got caught with his pants down playing with his putter while President Obama watched. No, seriously. It was the best of times for Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak, and it was the worst of times for his country, Malaysia. You see, it was the best of times for him because he was having the golf game of his life with President Barack Obama in Hawaii as Malaysia was undergoing the worst flood. Politicians, man, they're just kooky, you know? Like, I don't know. Everything about this seems just yucky. And then you throw in a missing plane on top of it? Double, triple yucky, man. Well, I was just doing some research on a story about the weather in America and the cold front coming as the jet stream continues its limbo, how low can you go? And I come across severe floods in Malaysia, which is kind of weird because Twitter was blowing up with the news that another airplane vanished, and then turns out the plane crashed in the ocean. The report is due to bad weather, but no one had mentioned the flood, and apparently over 160,000 people have been displaced. The floods look pretty bad. As I've mentioned before, the sun has been freaking out, and its freak out activity continues to increase. So we at Thor News believe the sun affects the climate and the weather, and that so the more the sun acts up, the more the weather's going to act up. Between Katrina and now, man, we've seen more cities underwater than I've ever seen before in my life, in a short period of time. Take that as you may. December 22nd, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Razak today visited several areas that were severely affected by the floods in the state. Prime Minister boarded a Royal Malaysian Air Force helicopter to observe the affected areas, which included Pasir Mas, Tumpat, Rantu, Panjang, and Tanah Merah. He also met with flood victims at the Temporary Relief Center at Sekolah Kebangsaan Kubang Batang, Tumpat, and the Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Biliming, PPS, and Tanah Merah. Prime Minister was also seen listening to the woes of the people concerning their aspirations during the meeting. I aspire to get dry and return to my home, I would imagine. Brushing aside protocol, Najib was seen eating food which were also served to the flood victims, as well as drink that the victims were drinking. I don't know what the protocol would be. Earlier, Najib arrived at the Sultan Ismail Petra Airport, Peng Kalan Chepa, here at 1:40 p.m. Najib later proceeded to listen to a special briefing from the chairman of the Kelantan Flood Disaster Committee, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohammed, as well as from the National Security Council at the airport for about a half hour. Prime Minister was briefed on the operations to assist the flood victims, including on the delivery of food supplies, the weather situation for the immediate future, as well as the trend of water flow in the main rivers in the state. Almost 100,000 evacuees. Man, they've just been getting hit with bad weather for about a month. The Malaysian Prime Minister has visited the most affected areas. Malaysia has announced an extra 500 million ringgit, 142 million, to help victims of the country's worst flooding in decades. At least 5 people have been killed in the floods along Malaysia's east coast, with over 160,000 displaced. Prime Minister Najib Razak made the announcement after visiting flood-stricken areas. He has faced public anger after being photographed golfing with President Obama in Hawaii during the storms. A, it's always bad to be golfing when a real, clear and present danger, threat, and crisis is upon your people. And B, that's just weird timing that the president of Malaysia happened to be golfing with Obama as his whole country was flooding. But hey, great news. Mr. Razak cut short his holiday and defended his golf diplomacy with the U.S. leader, saying it was difficult to decline the invitation as it had been planned for a while. The flood or the golf game? Or both? Every day when I was there, I received the latest report on the flood situation. Well, that's good to know. At least getting updates. It's not like he was like, don't tell me about what's happening on my country until I get off vacation. Every day when I was there, I received the latest report. As it became more serious, I decided to return to the country as soon as possible. Capital of Kelantan province. Yeah, look at that, man. If your country looks like a bowl of cereal that has too much milk in it, it's probably time to return. Wow, that is just insane. Think of how much stuff that water has ruined. The flooding left whole villages underwater. Victims have complained the government has been slow in responding. Doesn't it seem like each day governments get more and more detached from the people? Kind of like our government keeps saying climate change, climate change, climate change. And I keep saying, man, don't you think we should get 30 million people off the coasts? Because any day now, the flooding in Malaysia could happen to New York, to California, to New Orleans, to Florida. And the Earth's been acting weird. The sun's been acting weird. It's weird because over on the reports you see top 5 shared stories, the most stunning space pictures of 2014, when will man become machine, huge funeral for a New York policeman, North Korea berates Obama over film, Xbox, and PlayStation rebuild service. That is the BBC's top shared stories. Now we go to Red Airlines, how the fairy tale of New York can become a nightmare. Airlines. Number 4, ice warnings issued for sub-zero United Kingdom. 5, snow strains motorists in Alps. And no mention of the flood. I guess people aren't interested in Malaysia. PM Najib was criticized as photos emerge of him playing golf with President Obama on Christmas Eve. Yeah, dude, when your country's drowning, it's best not to be pretty in pink somewhere on a golf course in a whole nother country. Entire towns have been submerged by the flooding. Rescue workers have been struggling to bring in enough food and supplies for families sleeping in relief centers. Some victims have accused the government of being too slow in responding. I'm angry with them. We don't care about their politics. We just want the government to do what they should do and help us, one woman told AFP. The government responded, we're the government. We can do whatever we want. We can say whatever we want. We're the government. Eastern states are often flooded during the monsoon season, but heavy rain and winds have worsened the situation this year. That's an understatement. It is not a good time to be near coasts, people. Alright, well, God bless everyone. I will say my prayers. I ask you to do the same for the people of Malaysia. And I recommend everybody be alert, be awake, be aware, be prepared. You never know when things could just start to unravel with the weather. God bless everyone.